it. My name's Michael. I play guitar in Sienna Skies, and we're from Western Sydney in Australia.
Yeah. And you guys have been a band since like 2007 MySpace days.
Yes, we go way back. Our other guitarist, Nick, him and our original bassist sort of kicked it off when they were in high school. Um, and we've just been at it ever since. So yeah, we've been around for a while. We love what we do, so why would we stop, I guess is
Yeah.
the TLDR of it all. But yeah,
So they started Sienna Skies in high school, or when did Sienna Skies actually get started?
yeah. So Nick, the other guitarist, and Kev, who was our original bassist, he ended up singing for a Sydney band called The Bride, who were incredible. Their album President Road still one of like the best albums to ever come out of Australia. They started the band back, yeah, when they were in high school. They got me in the day after, which was cool. And yeah, since then, I think by about '09 or late '08, early '09, we kind of had a solid lineup, very similar to what we have now, which did that first album with uh Josh on bass, Steve singing, Luke drumming, and Matt on keys. That's yeah, from that first True as the Colours album, we sort of was that lineup until about 2014. After our third album, we had a bit of a lineup change then where Matt and Steve left. Actually, apologize, Damo joined us. We had a drummer change about 2010. Yeah, 2014, we had a change. So Matt left, Steve left, and Tom, who was been a friend of ours forever and was out, came on some tours with us to do merch and stuff. He started singing for us, and we've pretty much been steady like that since, yeah, 2014.
So your merch guy became your singer.
Yeah. So Tom came like whenever, because he was in other bands and stuff as well. But he came out with us a couple of times. He came to New Zealand. We did a New Zealand tour, came over there and did merch with us. And yeah, when we needed another singer, he was the guy that jumped up and did it.
Hmm. Well, that's convenient, right?
Yeah, well, to be fair, Matt, our keyboardist, I think like very early on, like we were so early on that people weren't even buying our merch sort of stuff. He did merch for us back then, then he just became our keyboardist. So I think we got a bit of a habit of doing that.
That is kind of funny. Hey, if you want to be in a band, I guess be the merch person. They might ask you to be in the band sometime.
Honestly, it's not the worst idea. It's not the worst idea. And if that band does it, you're going to meet everyone else, and someone's going to need someone at some point. It's just how it rolls. So it's
It's
actually not a
true.
horrible idea at all.
It's not a bad idea. At least you get to have fun going on tour and stuff too, even if you're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
in the band to start with.
Exactly. And you don't have any pressure. All you have to do is hang out behind the desk and sell a couple of shirts.
Yeah, I sold merch once for a friend's band in Milwaukee once, and I mean, it's not tough. You just have to, sell it.
Exactly.
Be like, oh, you want to
Exactly.
buy this shirt. It's always fun. So, since you guys did get started around the height of MySpace, do you prefer the old style of promotion back then versus what social media is like now?
I guess so. It's there's a lot more work involved in it now. And I guess there's positive and negatives there too. So in terms of just purely promotion, there's a lot more time that needs to be spent thinking about that now and working on that. Like that's a constant, which is a bit rough. Like you want to spend more time just doing music, but unfortunately, you got to sort of think about other things. But it's also kind of cool because you get to use creative things you probably wouldn't have used before or used a lot less of. So you get to sort of work that muscle, if you will. Like the good old days when you threw up a what was it? It was a bulletin, posted a bulletin, or I forgot what it was called. I say so everyone could see. Like, sweet, everyone saw it. There's no real algorithms back then either. So if you followed a band, you're gonna see what they want to show you. That was fantastic. I think the algorithm of it all has made it tricky and a bit of a pain. Obviously, it's helped to a degree because now it's easy to for new bands potentially to get that information out, whereas before they had to really work and tour and so on to get that fan base to be able to share it with. Although in saying that, if I was a new band these days, like full credit to them because I don't even know how that works these days getting into it. But yeah, I think I do prefer the old one, but trying to find the positives in the new way. So
Yeah, we've talked to some other people about the idea of that. Like we've talked to some other bands that have been around since like MySpace days, and we're like, we asked that question because I'm always curious, like what everyone thinks, and similar answers. But I mean, there is a lot more bands around nowadays than there
Mm.
were back in the MySpace days too. So it's definitely more saturated now.
It's true. And I think like potentially that is because we had those MySpace days, like so these bands were more accessible from there, which then just brought more people in, which then those more people are like, hey, I want to give that a try. And then it's kept on growing and growing, which has probably led to this, which is cool. It's nice to see that. And then you get different genres or mixes and things that, or types of sound that you probably wouldn't have heard 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So there's definitely really cool stuff coming
Yeah.
out of that.
Are there any aspects from the MySpace days that you wish would come back?
I do like I think everyone probably would say, but the profile song was the best. Everyone loved like on a personal level. Like it was always good to just throw up your own like a profile song. That was always cool. Um, Look, I kind of sucked at MySpace. I was never that good at if you will. Like I wasn't across it. I wasn't the best that I could. I kind of got that coding down a little bit, but I was never one of those crazy people that could get like the animations in the back and everything like that. That wasn't me. Um, I do like how non-constant it was. Like you logged into it, you did what you had to do. If you had a tip top, fair enough. You had a bit more access or whatever. But I think you guys called them a sidekick, the phones
Yeah.
that did the flippy things. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a popular phone
Um,
back then.
yes. So I used to work for the company in Australia that used to sell them. That was like my first job out of high school. So that was interesting. But yeah, I think main thing I miss out of it is the non-constant of it all. Like it was nice to be able to step away and go to a show, go do your thing, and not have thing like your phone having Instagram, Facebook, whatever, TikTok, all of it kept on popping off. So
Oh yeah.
that's a miss.
That's one of those things now. It's like, oh, I have a notification. Oh, another one, another one. Yeah, with MySpace, you didn't get notifications, but I don't know if you really got a lot of notifications just in general on phones back then. They probably didn't
Yeah, I
pop
agree. I
up.
think
It was more like, oh, you got a notification in your email that you had a new MySpace message or something.
exactly. You had that little removal there, whereas now it's like straight away it's like phone buzz. You're like, oh, cool,
Yep.
someone's liked something. It's to that effect. So yeah, I do miss that, but sorry.
So I'm also curious too, being a MySpace era band, who were some of your biggest influences back then versus your influences now?
So back then, from bands that I sort of found off MySpace and I really liked, we had an Australian band, Behind Crimson Eyes. They were like our first or kind of only like screamo emo band. They popped off. They were cool. Actually, they're doing their final tour as we speak, but definitely they were a big influence on me. That's kind of why I started learning how to play guitar, to be honest. Um, we also had over here like the Getaway Plan, Parkway, like those bands were all MySpace bands as well, but they did the hard yards, like obviously touring constantly around here. Um, there was a couple of other bands that I really liked. There was a band called The Secret Life of Freemasons.
I
I
remember
think
them.
I don't were they from maybe Michigan or so? I don't know. They were American. I don't remember where they were from, but they were really cool. Literally heard their song on someone else's profile. I was like, this is awesome. Got way into them. Um, there was the band called A Number 12 Looks Like You. They did a bunch of good stuff, but I remember I heard their cover of My Sharona and it's like, this is hectic, this is awesome. So they were definitely another like MySpace find band that was very much into a bit of an influence early on. Nowadays, in terms of influences, like these guys would count, I guess, as a MySpace degree, but like anything Dead West Prada does, especially lately, is just incredible. Love it. I really like uh, this band called Blood Command. I think they're from, or what the singer's Australian, the rest of them are like from Norway or something like that. They're incredible. They're killing
What
it
was
at
the
the
band
moment.
again? Sorry, you cut out.
Uh, no, my bad. It's called Blood Command.
Okay.
They're really, really good. Um, so I just put a single out the other day, which is hectic. Actually, we just did a tour with a band that we've been listening to on for a while. Of Virtue, they were fantastic.
Yeah, we had them on the
Yeah,
podcast.
I did listen to that podcast. I think that's how I first heard of your podcast because one of those guys posted about it or was a joke or something. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll listen to this with and it was Tyler and David. And I was like, just mad they got into the burger talk and everything. I was like, oh, all right, yeah, that was fantastic. And then yeah, yeah, there's so many bands. To be honest, I think a lot of the guys at the moment from my band love the band Camino.
Okay, yeah, we've heard that name thrown
They're
around a
they're
few times.
I hadn't heard of them until literally the last tour when the guys had it on the band. It's fun. It's really good, but yeah, they're frothing on that at the moment as well. So that's a big, especially the stuff we're writing at the moment. That's a bit of an influence.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you mentioned the number 12 looks like you. It's funny because my co-host mentions them all the time. And I think they're from New York, I believe. And then I did look up the Secret Lives of Freemasons, and they're actually from North Carolina.
Way off then. Okay.
I know, I
I
was
don't know
like,
where you're
ooh, that's a
Michigan
little
from, but
far.
yeah,
But yeah, maybe because of Virtue's from Michigan.
true, true. That could be it. That could be it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, you're naming all these bands, and I'm like, oh, my co-host talks about that one all the time. He brings them up for reference of some sort. I can't remember what he talks about, but if only he was here and on time, he would have been able to be like, oh my gosh, I love that band.
I've had they were 100%. I reckon I had that as my MySpace song for quite a while, for at least 6 months. Like super into it.
Yeah, I can't even remember what my last MySpace song would have been. Who freaking knows? Because that was like tail end. It was like probably '07 when like Facebook started to become popular, more popular. And so like you kind of started moving away from MySpace and Facebook was the new fun, cool thing for sure.
Yeah, that track's definitely. Yeah, I couldn't same. I could not remember what the last one was at all. So I couldn't even remember what year it would have been when we jumped, like finally made the switch away from it or
Yeah. I just
whatever.
remember what
There,
my background was because it was like the same thing forever and it was like a Pikachu wallpaper.
that's awesome. That's fantastic.
But that's all I remember about my MySpace. I technically still have my MySpace, but everything is broken on it. Like all the pictures are just like broken links and stuff now.
Oh no, that's
So it's
heartbreaking.
like,
That
I know,
sucks.
right? I saved what I could from it, but unfortunately, a bunch of stuff was lost. But at least I can still log in, I guess. I don't know.
True. I don't know what you can do with it once you log in, but it's good that you can at least get there and have that little bit of a time capsule.
I guess. Let me scroll through these pictures and like that one's broken. Oh, there's a saved one. One that still works. It's so weird. They had you save your MySpace, but yet half of it doesn't even work. But enough about MySpace. Let's talk more about you guys and Sienna Skies. A little over a year ago, you guys released your EP, Only Change is Permanent. How was that EP received by fans a little over a year ago?
Yeah, so look, we're real proud of that one. It was received really well. It was not, it didn't go down how we thought. It went down way better than we thought it did, or would have, sorry. But yeah, it's been fantastic. So sort of to go back to talk about that and a bit of a history of that, we were ready to go record like early 2020. We were like making plans. We're going to go to Thailand and record with one of the guys we did our first album with. Had it all planned out, and then yeah, that all got shut down, unfortunately. So then we spent the COVID year just sort of hanging out, writing and stuff. So at one point we had so many songs, like 50 plus. Look, a lot of them weren't good. It was just things to keep ourselves busy, but we had so many. So once we sort of got to that point where we could comfortably like get out again, go do things, write in person, and that went through what we had and we cut it down to like seven-ish songs, I think it was, from that big group, and which is only one of the songs which we originally had planned to record back in 2020 actually made that cut. The rest were all newer. So we went and ended up recording that in, I think I can't remember, I think we tracked that in like late 2022, early 2023 was when we got around to doing that. I can't remember. It was with Chris Blancato, who's fantastic. We did a single with him called Widow back in 2018, and yeah, it was a legend. He's fantastic to work with. We actually were in the studio with him a couple of weeks ago doing another single we got coming out soon. So um yeah, we tracked it with him. It's very different to what we'd done previously. It's got a bit more of a rock vibe, I guess, to it. You can dance a bit more to it. It's still got some breakdowns and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it was a bit of a departure to what we'd done previously, so we weren't too sure how it would all get received. Um, but yeah, every single like because literally every song on it we ended up releasing as a single with a video clip, all got like everyone was stoked on it. We did a tour about three singles through with of Mice and Men, which was cool because we were playing to audiences we may not have played to before. And in terms of both, like a lot of young people who had just turned like 18, 19, hadn't seen us because they really hadn't been able to go to shows because of everything. And then a lot of people who were just in like metalhead guys or girls who may not have seen us before because we weren't really playing those sort of shows. They came out and those shows went so well. We did a release tour which we brought our friends our friends know home from the Pacific Northwest. I think they're from Seattle or Portland, one of them. I apologize if which one for getting that wrong, but we brought them over in our mates Haraway and we did a run sold out in Australia, which was fantastic. Like we hadn't done a headline tour since 2019, so we were like, "Oh, how's it going to go?" But it's hectic. It was great. We did another run, yeah, towards the end of last year with a Virtue and Clay J Gladstone. That went really well. So we were just, yeah, over the moon at how this EP's been received. You just, especially with the band, like we've done so many albums, we put so much stuff out, like to have something new come out and everyone be so stoked on it, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's an awesome feeling. Now, do you have any favorite songs off that album?
Definitely, definitely. I like well actually to be fair, like, they're all fantastic. Um I guess Mess might be my favorite at the moment. It does change a little bit. Like sometimes it's cut me off, sometimes it's Don't Let Me Go. That one that means a lot to all of us. But I think at the moment, Mess is probably my favorite. It's fun. We we've been ending our set on it lately too, which is cool, and it's just got it's a fun vibe. But we get a lot of sing-alongs on it too, which is great.
Yeah, a good sing-along is always nice, especially if the
Oh, it
whole
is.
crowd gets into it.
And that's something that caught us by surprise. Like we even on the of Mice tour when we'd only had a couple of singles out, like I think we had Let It Burn out and a couple of others, but we were getting sing-alongs from those songs already, and we were just like, we're opening these shows, and it was that was happening. So that was incredible. And by the time we got to the record release tour, it was yeah, it was a bit overwhelming. It's very it was fantastic, but yeah, we didn't expect that, especially of these songs that are so fresh. But yeah,
Yeah,
crowd surfs and sing-alongs. What more could you want?
I mean, it sounds like a great time.
It definitely was, definitely was.
Now, do you guys get anyone out and get their cell phones out with their flashlights and stuff in any songs?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So on Don't Let Me Go, it seems to happen a lot, which is cool. Even the beginning of Let It Burn, we get it. We've got an older song of our last record called No Place Like. That's always look, our singer Tom, he loves to get in the crowd for that one. It's a bit of a slow one. Everyone gets their phones out, so that's always a cool moment, especially for us upstage. So we're just sort of like hanging out, watching. So we become, even though we're playing, we're kind of part of the crowd, just watching, seeing it all go down there, which is nice.
Yeah, I bet it looks a lot cooler from stage than it does from someone actually holding their phone because you can't really see all the lights.
It's true. That's true. It is almost, I never thought of it like that, but you're right. It is almost like a bit not selfish, but you're definitely not considering it from everyone else's perspective when you're saying, yeah, get your phones out, or not that you do it now, but get your lighters out. Because yeah, no one else can see it unless you're on the stage. So yeah, I never thought of that.
It is kind of fun
For
though,
everyone else,
because I've been at shows where I've been in the balcony, and you can usually see that happen in the balcony. So,
not true. Yeah,
but you have to be a little further up in the balcony, not in the back of the balcony, because otherwise, you can't see. You'll just see the back of everyone's head still.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always hard thinking about that. Like when you're on stage, can you even see the fans very well, or is it just all dark?
Depends. I guess it depends on the venue. Like you can generally see your front row like all the time, no matter what. But like the last run we did, the venues weren't big. Like we were playing. three to four
Right.
hundred sort of cap rooms, that sort of stuff. So you do get to see a lot more. But when you play like the bigger ones, like what we did on that run with the mice or that sort of stuff, then it's a lot harder. You know, it's just sort of shadows then.
Yeah. I kind of figure that much. I'm like, they can't even see me. I'm a little too far back probably, and I'm just screaming my lungs out, but they can't see me.
But you get the energy. That's what matters. Like you
It's
definitely
true.
get
The
the vibe and
energy's
the
there.
energy up there. Like it shouldn't be this way, but like there's a huge difference between a show where everyone's getting into it and other shows where it's like maybe not so much. Like you on stage, you get that vibe both ways and you can feel it.
Yeah, I can always tell the difference in a like an opening band because people are there to see like the more main acts, and it's always rough on me. I always feel bad kind of for the opening band. So I kind of try to like, when I'm at a show, show some energy for the opening band because they're there trying to hype you up for a
Oh,
reason.
definitely. Look, that's they would love like that. It being as a band that's been an opening band for many years, like at many occasions, you 100% appreciate that because you know when you're out there as an opening band, you're trying to hype everyone up, and you're also trying to like introduce yourself to these people. So like you're going off as hard as you can just to try and get that energy up there and bring everyone up to the level you guys are at in terms of the vibe. So yeah, love it.
Yeah. I mean, it also I think depends on the city too sometimes. And
Almost
the and
definitely.
the and the
Like
age bracket of the crowd.
that's true, actually. That's a good point. We noticed on this last run that like a lot of so because we've been playing shows since 2007 or whatever, like a lot of the people that were coming to these shows were in like early 20s and such. And we're like, okay, this is cool. And this is a vibe. Like we still have fans that have been with us since day one, which is sick. But a lot of them have got like a couple of our guys have got like kids and houses and all that
Hmm.
business going on. So it's not as easy. But yeah, you get the younger crowd coming through and absolutely living for it, which is sick because then it brings your energy up, which is mad.
Yeah, I mean, I just went to Amber Lynn not that long
Oh, my wife
ago.
would be so jealous of that. She
I
loves Anne
went to
Boleyn.
that show and it was interesting because I'm going to be 42 this year. And I'm just like, man, all these older people here, the energy is there, but it's not like the crazy energy where you have to like get in the pit, throw down and like break noses and stuff. Like it's not like that anymore. You know, not
It's
people
I
aren't
got to get
as
up work
nuts,
tomorrow energy.
right? Yeah, exactly. You got to get up to work. You can have fun, but you can't have too much fun.
That's true.
But and then there were some kids there. They brought their kids with them and stuff, and so the vibe is definitely different when it's depending on how long the band's been around. Like if you've been around for like 25 years, you're gonna have those fans that, like you said, you've got fans that have been there since the beginning. So you're gonna have fans that have been there through the beginning and are there now and still sticking around, but we're all a lot older. We all aged together.
It's true. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And look, we've been like so there's been like to sort of add to that there's been so many of those nostalgia sort of tours, those 20 years of this album tour, and you do see that, which is cool. Like everyone comes out for it. We saw the Story the Year one last year in Sydney. My wife and I went out, and it was Story, Census Veil, and Behind Crimson Eye. So all bands that everyone in that audience had grown up with. Like it was, yeah, I did catch that in the background. I was like, oh, nice. But like we were lucky enough, our first US tour was the Page Avenue 10-year tour. So we were lucky enough to sort of see that early on and we're like, oh, cool. And then same, even back then, there was like people coming to watch the band, they had kids with them. We're like, what's going on? This is cool. It's like there was them, Hawthorne, um, like Moths were on it too, although they were a newer band like us, I guess, and then ourselves and actually the other Set It Off were on it as well. So that was incredible to seeing that at the 10-year and then seeing it again at the 20-year mark last year over here in Sydney. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is cool that everyone's still riding with these guys because, well, to be honest, Page Avenue spent a fantastic album. So if you wouldn't,
I'm trying to think if that show had to have come to Milwaukee.
we did. That was the only time we've been to Milwaukee. Actually, we played the Rave,
Yeah, the rave.
that big venue. Yeah, because I remember some guy took us walking around like the walls of it, and like this underground pool in there and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, the
It's meant to be
pool.
haunted, and that was creepy as like it was cool, but yeah, definitely had the creepy vibe when she got out of the venues. The exits, there's a couple of venues. It's like we played one, and was it J. Cole was in the other one in the same building?
Yeah,
It
the
was all
rave
towards my end
has,
actually.
they have the basement, and then they have the regular rave, and then they also have a bar stage, and then they have the ballroom, which is way upstairs.
Oh, okay, gee. Well, yeah, I think I don't know which one we played in. We know definitely not the big one because we went up to the big one where J. Cole was playing. Not that I knew who J. Cole was at the time, but that was that was awesome.
Yeah, I saw the pool once. Oh, Chris is here. He's hopping on.
Oh, hi, Chris.
He finally made it.
I made it. Oh my God.
Chris, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
He
How was the
made it.
recital?
The recital or the orchestra?
Oh,
What was
orchestra.
it?
Sorry,
Yeah, it was orchestra. Good times.
Was it good? Did Rye play good?
He doesn't have any solos or anything like that.
Oh. So you don't really know if he played good.
Exactly.
He plays violin, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he says he doesn't want to do it after this year, though.
Uh-oh. He's losing interest. Now he wants to play guitar.
Eh,
No.
we'll see.
So yeah, we were just talking about the rave.
Like the
Hello?
venue rave, right? Not.
Yes, not a rave, the rave.
I was gonna go to one of those Shrek raves that they have, and then I looked up video and I'm like, that is super ridiculous. There's no way I'm going to
I've
that.
not heard of this. What is a Shrek rave? Like I'm picturing something, but I you can't be what I'm picturing.
Like Shrek, but set to a rave with ridiculous visuals. And it's not like Shrek music. It's just
Okay.
insanity by the videos I've looked up. So I'm like, you know what? Nah.
That's kind of weird. It's not even based off of Shrek the movie.
No, but they have like pictures of Shrek up on the board and like stuff
That's
like
not
that.
cool. I think it'd be
No,
better if it was like a rave and you're dancing to like the Shrek soundtrack.
100. That's what I was picturing. Like someone's like remix that Smash Mouth song about 10 different ways. Everyone's dressed up as a character from Shrek and they're all just losing it. That was what I thought it would be. It still sounds pretty insane, but yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, but unfortunately it sounds like it's not any cooler.
it's not. And the first time I saw it was when we took a trip to Myrtle Beach, and one of the venues there was having one. I'm like, oh, I gotta look that up. And of course I forgot, but then I saw a local venue here in Syracuse was having one, and I'm like, okay, now I need to look it up. And I'm so glad I did not go to it.
You
I
know
would
what
have hated myself.
you know what you did miss, Chris, while you were driving back from the orchestra?
What's that?
That Michael mentioned the number 12 looks like you.
Yes.
You
Such a
missed
good
it.
band.
Yeah, I saw them. Oh God, one of my friends introduced me to them with the album Nuclear Sad Nuclear, and I got super into it. And I went and I saw, I don't remember who they toured with. It must have been back in like '05, '06. It was a long time ago.
Jeez.
And I remember at the end of one of the songs, people try to open up a pit, but the song was ending. And this girl got super pissed. She's like, wait a fucking know when to open a pit and wait to know the fucking song. Uh,
Yep.
It's incredible. I don't think they ever came to Australia. I don't think I never got the chance to see them. I just yeah found them on MySpace and
Yeah, we
loved
were
it. That's
talking about
all.
MySpace and he brought that up as an influence and I was like, "Oh, Chris would have been all on top of that one."
yeah, I would have been. I absolutely love them. I love to recommend them for anybody who's looking for, I like to call it symbiotic disharmony.
That tracks. That makes sense.
It's perfect from the, you know, from the complete math core to the smooth jazz. It's a perfect mash of you would have never expected it.
100%. And it's never, well, it's always jarring. It's never jarring. Like they somehow get that blend just right.
They really do. They really do. All right, so sorry I was late with all that stuff. Jess filled me in with where you're at, so I guess I'll take the next one. Um, I feel weird not knowing any of the previous answers, but I'll get the recap when I edit. I'll get the recap. Um, so your latest single, Brick, just came out at the beginning of this month. How are fans liking that? And when can they expect anything new beyond that?
Look, firstly, I'm so glad you asked because Brick is doing like we've wanted. That's it's a cover of a Ben Fold 5 song, which in Australia at least, like that was huge in the 90s. Like I remember, yeah, being in the back of mum and dad's station wagon and it's on the radio. You go to the supermarket, it's on the radio. Like it was everywhere. We've got our like rock and roll radio station Triple M over here used to not even used to it still gets spun on that constantly. So we've wanted to cover that for a long time. It's always something that sort of bounced around. We've had a couple of different cover versions that we've sort of like half written as ideas sort of in the past, but we never really put much energy, full energy into it. And we finally were like, nah, we're doing it now. It's happening. Um, so yeah, we think we tracked that late last year, just before we went on. Yeah, it was just before we went on tour in November last year. We tracked that with Christopher Blancato again. We did the film clip with our friend Gareth, which that was a fun day. We had to flood what do you call it, like a TV set sort of thing, get that water effect going on. But yeah, we're real stoked with it. We wanted to do it for a long time. It's been really well received. We were surprised. A lot of people didn't realize it was a cover, which I guess is kind of cool in a way because, like, okay, so obviously we've done enough to it to make it our own. Um, but yeah, it's been doing really well. We haven't had a chance to play it to people yet, like live, so that'll be a fun. Once we get to that point, we get to chuck it in the set. That'll be a bit of fun. We did a cover, geez, years and years ago for Fireflies, and that gets up. We get asked to play it a fair bit. That was always a fun one to play. So I'm hoping this one is too. But in terms of new stuff, yeah, it was only a few weeks ago. We in the same week we were in the studio with Chris, did a new song, and we actually did the film clip for it on the weekend of that. So we just real short, turn around. I think it's going to come out like maybe May, June, like late May, early June. Still getting mixed and all that fun stuff, but I'm really excited about that one. It's a bit of again a bit of a directional pivot where we've sort of gone, all right, cool. What did we like, or what did we found resonated with people from the EP, and what did we have fun playing, and then let's try and alter our sound a little bit to fall into that a bit more. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one. I wish I had the date, but we don't have a date just yet. We're probably like a week away from knowing the date or whatever. We just got to get the actual mix done, but we're putting that one out through Passion 8 Records again as well. And I'm really excited for people to hear it. It's got a bit of everything in it. There's a bit of dance in it. There's a bit of breakdown, a bit of sing along. Try to touch everything on that one.
I'm excited to hear it.
I will 100% be tagging you guys as soon as it's up. Like, hey, check this out.
Yes, tag
Please
us.
like it.
I will like it, I'm sure. And it's funny you mentioned Fireflies because that was actually something I was going to mention that I know it's an oldie, but I love the rendition you guys did of it
Thank you.
because I
So
love Owl City. I love that song so much.
there's a interesting story. Well, I find an interesting story behind that one. So when I think of like 2011 or 2010 when we did that, it was definitely after our first album. Because we went in, we tracked that, and then some other demos for what would be on the next album. And originally, I really like Kesha. Kesha, especially that, like, just Kesha's amazing. Um, and at that point, that's when TikTok was huge. Like that song was everywhere. So we wrote the cover for TikTok, and then somewhat, like literally, it was like the week before or a week and a half before we were meant to go and record it. Someone dropped a TikTok cover. I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the keyboard mosh bands. Wasn't Attack Attack. It was someone, maybe someone after, but yeah, one of those, yeah, keyboard mosh bands dropped the cover, which they did a fantastic job on it. But like, okay, we can't do this now because we're a keyboard mosh band too. and it's done. So what do we do? So we pivoted and I just shifted that cover into our city one, and in a
Oh,
week, like we kind of kept a lot of the same things and just made it work. And look, I'm happy we did because it worked out really well for us. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. Whenever we do play it, we get a fantastic reaction. We don't play it very often. We sort of throw it out there every now and then, but yeah, it's a fun one to play as well.
I'm trying to think what other keyboard mosh band it was. Chris, are you looking it up?
It
I am. How did you know?
wasn't
Is it because
ish.
I'm looking to the left?
Yes.
Um,
I don't think it was issues, but it was in that sort of time frame, like maybe early issues.
was it Fame on
Um,
Fire?
no, no, it
No.
was like,
Let's see. Fame on
um,
Fire. Jonathan Young covered it. Let's see.
How many people have covered Kesha?
yeah, geez. Um, I didn't get. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone. 'Cause then if Wadey was here, our bass player, he would know this for sure.
There's wow. I hadn't realized there were this many covers.
But I can't even remember now who it was, and can't type in keyboard. What's not working for me, but I remember it was big as well because it was at like everyone. Well, to go back to MySpace, everyone had their MySpace song at that time too. I'm like, oh bugger. Okay, let's go to the next. What's another song we can do? So yeah, then we went Fireflies.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Kesha covers, like Woe Is Me, and then you got like,
That's it. What was me?
oh,
What was
apparently
me?
the
That's it.
first
That's
one
the
I
one.
choose.
I
That
didn't
was
see
it. I
that
remember
one.
like a band that were like they were really big at that point too because we were like, oh gosh, can't touch that then.
Yeah, it came up when I looked up metalcore band Kesha cover, and it was like a video on YouTube, and I'm like, "Woe is me," and then it mentioned TikTok
They had
too.
that. Yeah, that's and their symbol was the S as well or something from memory, and yeah, that was them. And literally, it was like the week before we were meant to go track it. We're like, oh, okay, we're in trouble here. What do we do? But it worked out well.
Change the song,
Exactly.
change it up. But Fireflies is great, love it. And you did mention that people do ask for that to be played a lot live, and I was wondering
Yeah.
if people ask for that to be played.
Yeah, they do. Like we, to be fair, lately, sort of since we put the new stuff out, it's not asked as much, which is kind of cool because it means that they're enjoying what they're hearing. But in 2019, we did a 10-year tour for our first album. Um, and yeah, I think every single show of that, it's probably because we were sitting in that era of like revisiting that every single show, someone wanted to hear that. So we did it playing that on that run. But yeah, it's fun. It is a fun one to play with.
So to kick it back a little bit more, back in 2013, you guys played the final year of the Scream It Like You Mean It tour. How was that experience?
That was incredible. So that was our first US tour. We've been trying to get to the States pretty much since like 2010, 2011, since it's sort of, we thought, okay, this might actually be possible because like we started as a band just like, oh, if we can play a show, it'll be fun. And then we'll play a show in another city, it'll be fun and so on. But we got to the point where like, well, maybe we could go overseas and well, more so than overseas, just go to the States and play. That was what we really wanted to do. And we got that offer to that tour, which was incredible. Like we all grew up listening to Story, listening to Hawthorne. We'd actually just done a tour with Hawthorne in Australia a couple months, like I think late 2012. Um, and they were fantastic and still to this day are amazing human beings. So that was yeah, finding out firstly, cool, Story's 10-year tour. Secondly, Hawthorne are on it. A couple of our guys used to play Pod or Halo, I can't remember which one, with Chris from Like Moss. Like so they were on the tour as well. Um so it was one of those things where it's like, cool, we're gonna go do this thing we've always wanted to do in touring in America, touring with all these bands that we have either grown up loving or we know now and we love. One of our friends, another Western Sydney band called Capture the Crown, they were on the tour too. So we
Hmm.
literally grown up with those guys. Like our singer at the time, he used to be in a band that their singer was in. Like there was all those connections. Like we knew those dudes well. So it was like this is gonna be sick. It was a fantastic tour. Like I think it was October, November. So it was cold for us. We weren't used to that. We ended up staying through to December because we recorded in Nashville and that was like snowing and stuff, which we don't really have in Sydney. So that was an experience. But yeah, that was, I think once we all got back from that, we're like, we got to get back over there again. This is incredible. Touring Australia is fun. Touring America is next level. So there's
Yeah.
like so many more shows you can play. Um, so many more foods you
With
can try, which is fantastic. The fast food options are insane compared to what we have here.
I
Yeah.
was
Now look, we're catching up now. I have to say we're catching up now, but yeah, we just had the absolute ball on that tour. Like we got to watch Story of the Year do this. They did like medley halfway through their set where they played 5 or 6 songs from other bands that were
Hmm.
also 10 years old, like Yellow Card and stuff, which was incredible. We had an absolute ball, and everyone was so good to us on that tour. Like I think
I'm
that made it. It was just a
You
perfect
mentioned
storm.
it. You mentioned it earlier too. We were talking about how that show was the 10-year anniversary, but it was also the Scream It Like You Mean It tour, and I didn't realize those were both the same tour. And I'm just like, I was more than likely at that show because I don't ever miss a Story of the Year show because they're my favorite band ever. And I'm like, and it was in October, so usually I make that my birthday show.
But it would have worked out perfectly then, yeah.
And I'm like, so
And
now
it
I'm
was at the
like
rave,
thinking
and
to
I think it was
myself, I'm
bad.
like, yeah, I was at the rave, and I'm like thinking to myself, then I had to have seen you guys before.
Well,
But
we
I
were
don't
on,
remember.
we
It
did
was so
open that
long
tour, so there is
ago.
a we did open that tour, so we were on like straight up, pretty much doors open 5 minutes later, we're up there. So
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I made it to that show on time. I usually always do. Yep, I was probably one of those people that was, bouncing around at least for your set because we were talking about how a lot of people don't get into the opening band.
no, well, definitely would have been 100% grateful for it. But to be fair, on that tour, I have nothing but good memories of that. So
Yeah, that
including
was a
the
great
crowd being
tour. I
balls
gotta
to
look
us.
on
So
my back wall here and see if I have my ticket stub.
oh, is
with
that what you got
Yeah, that's
behind
what
you? The
those
tour
are, a
ticket
whole
stub.
bunch of
Gee,
ticket
that is a
stubs, yeah.
collection.
I know I have a huge collection. I have some that aren't even hung up, so I have like little
Oh, geez.
envelopes still with a bunch more. I need to make another one.
and with that being your first US tour, did you have any kind of like unexpected culture shock that you remember aside from the fast food?
Yeah, definitely. So we, when we first got there, we were originally going to borrow a van off a friend's band so we had to go to Jacksonville, to pick it up. And I remember I got there a little bit after the other guys because once our flight, we went Sydney, LA, and then our flight from LA to, I think it went Atlanta and then on to Jacksonville. Um, we basically missed the connection because it was too short of a time frame or whatever. So the other boys, they got on a flight, and then I didn't get that one because it was only 4 seats or whatever. So I jumped on one the next morning. So I just hung out there. So I was a bit later than everyone. So by the time I caught up with everyone and actually like in America, if you were not just in the airport, they'd already been a Walmart. They'd been a Cookout, I think was the place that they all talked about. Like they'd sort of already had a bit of they'd probably gone through some of the culture shock of it and just they were like, living it. But I remember the place they were crashing at that night. Like it was just a friend's garage that we're going to borrow that van from. And so we went to Walmart as soon as I got in and grabbed a sleeping bag. Cool, we're good to go. Went in, went to lay down on the floor, and underneath the chair there was a gun. And that's just not something like Australia doesn't have guns. I think, yeah, ever since I've grown up, I don't think they were ever legal here or anything like that. So just that to be there and so casually, I'm like, holy crap, that was a huge shock. And I was like first night I was there, I was like, geez.
That's not a great place for him to have left his gun.
Yeah, like, look, I definitely was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not comfortable with this. That's cool. I'll just roll over and look the other way. But yeah, that was the culture. That was like first night sleeping there. I was like, oh gosh, okay.
That would be a shock for sure.
Now, ever since that, I'm just curious, have you as like the band gone to like a firing range?
No, no. So I don't know if anyone else in the band has. I've never been to one.
I that's one of the things for some reason I like watching on YouTube is like people from other countries who have never fired a gun, like go to a gun range and try it, and they're both terrified and exhilarated at the same time. Um, it's
Hmm.
nothing I'm super into or anything, but I was just curious. Um, so following up with that tour, let's fast forward what 12 years. You guys recently played an emo night. How is the energy of the emo night versus like a standard show?
That was only last weekend. That was really cool. So like a big part of sort of coming up in Australia, especially in the time that we did, is sort of you progress from your PCYC shows and then you get onto these club shows, which are pretty much emo nights back before they were called emo nights. Um, and that was a big part of us growing as a band. Like we did so many tours through those clubs, so that was really cool. So I don't think we'd played a club or an emo night sort of thing since 20, 2015. So it'd been a while since we'd done one, but this one was out west at a place called Penrith. We well, all of us had at some point in our lives lived out there, grown up out there. So any like we got offered to go play out there. We're like, cool, let's do it. It's probably like an hour and a bit out of the city. Um, but it was incredible. So we are, to be fair, we're good friends with Toby, the guy that runs it. He's a legend. We've known him forever. Uh, but it was fantastic. Like it was a floor show for starters, like, which is automatically, as soon as you're playing a floor show, the energy is a whole nother level because instead of you being able, like, sound weird, instead of you being elevated, it's like the crowd are on top of you, which is cool. Um, it's so cool to, so I, like I said, grew up in Penrith. Unfortunately, like, you definitely being an emo out there. When I was younger, you definitely got bullied and that sort of stuff. It wasn't always fun. It was so cool to see so many people in this room having a good time, but like fully embracing who they are, like dressed up in emo. They've got their emo makeup on. Like it was really hectic, and everyone was just having a great time. The like we thought it would be a good show, but it definitely exceeded our expectations, and we can't wait till the next time we get to go out and do one. But it was fantastic. And then even so, as soon as we finish playing, we pack up, and then yeah, the DJ rolls out and starts hitting all the emo bangers. Everyone's singing along. It was such a good vibe.
Yeah, I
AMPM's
haven't
killing it.
I haven't gone to an emo night yet, and apparently I'm
That
missing
was
out.
that was my
It's
first one, to be honest. I hadn't been to one either. Like, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a really good time.
Yeah, I went to my first one only a few weeks ago. It wasn't that long, and it's just such an energy.
It's cool. It's so nice for people just to be able to go somewhere, embrace what they love, and just vibe out. It's mad.
Yep. It's all about reminiscing in the good old days, right?
It's true. That's very true. 'Cause that seems to hit really well when they start to play those songs that you had on your iPod Mini or whatever it was back in the day. Then they're the ones that get sung the loudest as well.
Yeah, I had like a first edition video iPod. I still have it.
Oh, does it still work?
It does. It has to stay plugged in constantly or it dies.
Uh,
And I tried to jailbreak it once and messed up all the like all the
oh no.
artwork. All the artwork is on the wrong like band. So like you know, Hawthorne Heights will be playing or something and it's really Story of the Year or something, like the cover art. And I'm like, that's not Story of the Year or Hawthorne Heights. Okay. Oops. My bad. Messed it up. But I mean, I guess it makes for a memory, right?
It's true. That's true. It keeps it interesting.
All right. So we did talk a little bit about some tours. Like we talked about the Screaming Like You Mean It and just in general coming to the States and everything. Now, if you could go on tour with anyone before who has since disbanded, who would you love to see get back together and go on tour with?
Gee, that's a tricky one. Oh gosh, I am not prepared for this question at all. I'm just trying to think of who I like who's broken up. So many bands just stick around now. It's great, but it's also
And it's harder
um,
actually because some bands actually have gotten back together already.
that's true. Exactly. Well, I could have at one point I probably could have said like story of the year. I don't think they never really broke up. No, but Yellow Card did. Like, I could have gone to Yellow. I saw them the other night, and they were fantastic. Like, yeah, Yellow Card would have been sick. Um, oh geez, I mean, actually, I'll go with the band that they're breaking up now. I don't know if that's cheating or not, but there's an Australian band behind Crimson Eyes. They're literally doing their breakup tour like now. I think it finishes next week. They were a band that I grew up listening to. I learned how to play guitar because of them. 100% if that band, yeah, if that, I would have loved to have done it. And then we never got to tour with them at all. So them or, I guess this is another sneaky answer, but I Killed the Prom Queen. They did just announce some sort of tour, but essentially they're broken up too, and they're another Australian band that we never got to tour with. That would have been cool. We toured with like different members of that band in other bands, but never with them as what they were sort of back in the day, which was incredible.
I
Yeah.
forgot about them.
They literally, I feel like it was again only last week that they announced that they're doing like some sort of reunion tour over here with a good a friends band of ours, To the Grave, who are a fantastic band if you're into the heavy stuff. But yeah, that they were in Australia, they were huge. It was like them and Parkway were like the bands.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for Matchbook Romance to get back together and go on a dang tour.
That would be my wife and I were literally speaking about them not long ago because I think they popped up. You know, when you're listening to like you listen to an album on Spotify, or whatever, and then around we just starts throwing other songs you might
Hmm.
listen to, and they came out here once. I remember, I reckon it would have been 2006, maybe they came out and played this venue in Sydney called the Gaelic Club, which is such a cool venue back in the day. And the other guitarist in our band, Nick and I went and saw them, and yeah, they put on a fantastic show.
Oh, yes. I saw them multiple times, and they were one of my other favorite bands from back in the day. And they still are. So if they decide to do a tour, I'll be there for sure. So do you guys have any plans to come back to the States anytime? This year, next
Nothing locked,
year?
nothing locked in. Like, don't get me wrong, we would absolutely love to. The first opportunity we get, we're coming. Like, I think the last time we were in the States was 2018, so it's been a couple of years, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, at this point, we don't really don't have anything lined up. We're looking. So a couple of the guys are, as we speak, in the process of, sounds very weird to say, but are having children very shortly. So we're taking a little bit of a break over this middle part of this year where we're just gonna putting out a single. We're going to be doing a lot of writing and then trying to get back into line some tours up at the end of the year. Um, Nothing. So yeah, unfortunately, nothing's popped up from the States yet. But if anyone wants to bring us out, just let us know and we'll be there. We absolutely love touring in the States. I think the last run we did in 2018 was like for like 50 something shows. It was insane. And yeah, would love to do that again.
Yeah, I know that touring from Australia and then going all the way to the States has to be expensive.
It's not cheap, like, but we don't play in a band to make money. So that's fine.
It's
We play in a
true.
band because we love it. So that's fine. We make it work. We'll figure it out.
See, and I love
We
that you
sleep on
said that
floors.
you're not in a band to make the money. You're in it because you love it.
Oh, 100%. Like, we absolutely love what we do. We have so much fun doing it. We love the fact that we've been given like really cool opportunities to travel both throughout Australia and overseas. Like, we've gone through America, we've gone through Europe, gone through Japan a couple of times. Japan's incredible to tour in. Like, we don't make any money off, but that's not what this is about. It's about like creating something with your friends, and then luckily enough, once we create it, people want to hear it, and then we get to go to where they're from and play it for them. So
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna, I don't know, take a left turn with the question. So we've found a question or a prompt that seems to be it causes a little bit of chaos every
Yeah,
once in a
you know
while.
what though, Chris? I'll let you in on a secret. He might know what you're talking about
Oh
because
boy.
chaos is always
he
fun.
listened to that interview
Which one?
of Virtue.
A virtue? Okay. So if you listen to the virtue one, you know this question because we got
Maybe.
into a debate about it for a while. Um, so French fries, or from what I understand, hot chips in Australia. What do you dip them in?
So I think most people do ketchup or tomato sauce, whatever that's called. Over here, I am not that person. I live for either dipping them in mustard or buffalo sauce. That's my go-to for sure.
Ooh, buffalo sauce. I do
But yeah,
like buff.
I think.
I like the buffalo sauce answer. That I can get
Right.
behind.
He doesn't like
I'm a connoisseur of buffalo sauce. I love it. So
he doesn't like my answer of barbecue sauce, but
I don't mind about, look, I personally am not a ketchup fan. I don't understand why it is so widespread. Like outside of on a hot dog and like maybe on a pie or sausage roll. Because in Australia we have like meat pies. Like our pies have meat, or well, I don't eat meat, but like fake meat. So that our pies aren't like dessert pies, they're like a savory thing. Like people have them for lunch or breakfast sort of thing.
yeah. Well, we call them, I think we
So
call them pot pies here.
okay, well yeah, so that's what we're working with over here. So outside of like that, I don't really mess with ketchup too much. I'm just not a fan. But that's not the cultural thing over here. That's just me being weird.
My kind of person
But
right
yeah.
there. I don't get ketchup either. So,
I don't
I
know.
think it's so like there's nothing wrong with tomato, like whatever, but I just think it's overhyped. There's so many other better sauces. Why are we sitting down here when we could be having something that's up here?
It's true. Ketchup's not my favorite thing. I prefer barbecue sauce. So if I can dip my
I'm with
fries
that
in
too.
anything, barbecue sauce is way better than ketchup. But if I'm stuck with ketchup, I guess I'll have it. Chris would
I
prefer
think
his without any sauce at all.
yes, without any sauce, because it is my firm belief that if you are dipping a French fry in something, you're essentially masking a bad tasting fry.
that's very true. It becomes like a delivery mechanism for the sauce at that point.
Yep.
Like you want the fry to be able to stand on its own and then maybe be like accentuated by the sauce. You definitely don't want the sauce to be covering up averageness of the chip there. That's for sure.
Because at some point, when some people dip and get so much, at that point, just drink the dip. I mean,
It is, or just get a spoon and just start
yeah.
just going straight into the dip.
Ugh.
That's
I can't even think about just taking a sauce and like spooning it into my mouth. That just makes me cringe.
I yeah. Look, I don't think I personally. Oh, maybe it's salsa. I could eat salsa. Salsa's nice, but yeah, I couldn't see myself doing that.
Now,
But
because you mentioned mustard, I'm going to mention something that's going to sound disgusting, but I promise it's not.
Oh gosh.
Mustard on a banana.
hey,
They
look, I'll try anything once, but or twice really, because it's
so
the first time it's crap. But that sounds
the
interesting. I'll give it a run.
So I don't remember where I heard it. I must have been watching some YouTube video. But even the person was like, "This is going to be disgusting," and they put it on it. They're like, "That's not bad." I'm like, "There's no way that's not bad." And I had a banana and I had mustard, so I went and I put the flavors like cancel each other out. I can't explain it. It almost tastes like nothing. It's so weird, but I
What kind of
Wow.
promise it's
mustard?
I tried both a spicy brown and a yellow. You can taste the spicy brown more, obviously, but the yellow almost it I just taste like the texture of the banana and that was it.
So did it
It's
Look,
so weird.
my wife and I are going to groceries today. So I'm gonna buy. We've got mustard here. We're out of our fruit, so I'm gonna buy a banana. I'm gonna try it, and I'll message you guys later on today, being like, "Hey, this is what I tried it. This is
I'm
what happened. I'm keen. This sounds really weird, and I'm gonna give it a run."
Feel free to
I'm
videotape it and tag us. No,
I'm either yeah, I'm either gonna have like somebody, you're either gonna be like, "Oh man, that wasn't awesome. It wasn't bad, thanks," or you're gonna hate me. It's gonna be one of the two.
well, now
No, I'm
I'm
keen to give it a run.
curious.
I will 100% give it a run. Definitely. I'll
Well,
try and get my wife in on it too, see if she's keen.
that could be a good social media post, you know. No,
That's true. You got to think about that these days. Yeah, definitely.
because we were talking a little bit about that, how it was so much easier back in the MySpace days, and how now you have to work harder and do more to get your stuff out there.
Right.
I'm like, that could make people be like cringe or make the whole nother trend again, where you try this mustard on a banana.
But it was so easy in MySpace because a lot of bands would just put those little banners up on their page. And you just had to copy the HTML coding from their page if you liked the band and put it on your own. Boom, free advertising. It was so easy. I
It
definitely
was
had
all
about 37 banners on my page, but
right. Yeah, definitely was all people just had your song as their profile song. You're like, sick. I found so many bands just of other people. Well, that's how I found them. Sort of like you. Someone else had it as their profile song. I was like, Matt. Same with Devil Wears Prada. That's how I found that band, and to this day, they're still one of my favorite bands. So that
Yeah.
Now,
single they put out the other day was incredible.
now back in the MySpace days, if somebody put your song like as their profile song or in their playlist, did you get notified at all?
I don't think so. I don't ever remember seeing that. So I don't think you got a notification or any sort of. There was no sort of data on that as far as we knew. We may not have just been good enough at the MySpace to figure out how to get that data. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was ever a thing.
It's probably too complicated for simple HTML coding.
Sure, sure,
Hey,
sure.
I remember you could put a thing in your HTML and it would track who's visiting your site,
Yep.
your
Oh,
page.
geez.
Yep. I was going through my at one point I must have taken my old computer and put it into my Google Drive. Not long ago, I found my old MySpace HTML coding in a text file. I was like, no way.
It lives.
If only you could apply it to your MySpace now. I wonder if you could.
I don't
Probably
think there's
not.
anywhere to post it in MySpace
I doubt
anymore.
it. Not anymore. But, well, we're on to our final and last question. And if you've made it to the end of the Of Virtue interview that you listened to, you kind of might know what it is. What is your favorite dinosaur?
I did hear that. No, I remember this one from that. Look, to be fair, I would have been able to answer this regardless because my wife is a massive Jurassic Park fan. Like she lives for it. We literally watched Jurassic World last weekend, so love dinosaurs. Super basic answer though. I just think Triceratops are cool. So it would 100% be a Triceratops. They just look like they'd be cool to hang out with and pat, just chill.
Yeah. Well, we don't get a lot of Triceratops, Chris. We always get T-Rexes and Velociraptors.
Yeah, a lot of T-Rex.
But
So
Yeah.
so
don't get me wrong, all dinosaurs are
Triceratops
amazing. But
Triceratops is less
I just
basic.
oh cool. I'm happy that's awesome. I just feel like that they're a dinosaur you could look, you probably couldn't, but you could hang out with. You could just be like, I don't know, walking down the shops and
They
there's a
do
Triceratops, so
seem
you're like,
like
hey
they'd
man,
be
give it a
pretty
pat.
chill unless they're messed with.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas if, yeah, Raptors and T-Rex and stuff, then that's not gonna be a fun time. We also first Jurassic Park, we know what happens with T-Rexes and Raptors.
We do. We know what happens.
Would if Jurassic Park was real, like you could go there, say build this, would it after seeing all the movies and everything, would you actually go or not? Because me and my wife had a big discussion about this the other day. It's like,
See, I'm not sure.
is it something you'd be like, because there's a chance, like there's a high chance you don't come back from that, but also dinosaurs. So
Is Chris Pratt there to protect me?
why not? You got Chris Pratt and Sam Neill there,
I'm
See,
definitely
and there's a
down. No
Lorna
problem.
Dern.
Yeah, Laura Dern. I don't think Sam Neill's gonna make it very far. Um, Chris Pratt, I'm okay with. Um,
see,
Laura
but
Dern can still.
but I want to know, is Chris Pratt actually a badass in real life, or is he just a badass on screen?
I think he's a softie.
See, I think he'd be running and screaming maybe in real life.
Well, Sam Neill, he's a kid, he's from New Zealand, so there's a good chance he's grown up with, well, like out bush potentially, so he might be able to actually lend a hand here. He may actually be the safety to a degree.
Hmm.
Can I just look at the park from like a helicopter and just be like, oh yeah, there it is?
Look, that would be the easy out and the safe option. That's for sure.
Have you not
As long
seen
as
the
no one.
movies? The flying dinosaurs are going to
Oh,
take it
true.
down.
Well, it's true. Dang it.
Yeah, the
There's
pterodactyls will
no
get you.
safe no safe way unless they make it all herbivores and no carnivores at this Jurassic Park.
So if they did that, which would still be amazing, like everyone's going to come as soon as they see it, they're going to be like, "All right, that's cool, but like, where's the T Rex? I want to see a T
They
Rex."
are, but at least we all would probably survive the day.
Exactly. True.
But also, life finds a way, Jess. These
I
herbivores
know.
are going to turn into carnivores somehow.
They might. They might eat us. A triceratops might maim me with one of its horns.
True. Like, hopefully not, touch wood, but look, my wife's answer was 100%. She's like, I'm going. I don't care. We're going. I'm like, all right, I'll follow her anyway. So we're going.
Now, what would your wife's favorite dinosaur be?
And she loves raptors so much. Yeah. that's her absolute favorite. And our honeymoon, we went to the theme parks in Florida.
Hmm.
So she got to like when we went to Universal, she got to meet the raptor and everything, and yeah, she had the best time. So yeah,
Yeah, mine you heard was a Brachiosaurus.
which I love. They're they're fantastic. I like. I can see that they're also huge. So that's kind of scary.
They're really big, but they seem very docile and just chill, just sitting there in the trees with their heads in the trees, eating leaves and whatnot, and sneezing on people.
It's true.
And mine, of course, is the ankylosaur, the big ol' armored dinosaur with a bulbous tail. Love it.
With the club tail.
With the club tail, yeah, ever since I was a kid, I love that one.
He
That's
loves
a super
Spike.
left field one, but that's awesome.
Yeah, we always get into the talk about the dinosaurs too. It's like people think of The Land Before Time a
Oh,
lot.
gee, that's. I don't think I could ever watch that again. Like I remember watching it as a kid and it being sad, and like we had our back in when that was a. I don't even really remember this because it was that long ago, but when that came out, we had our Pizza Huts like used to go in and eat inside the Pizza Hut. Like it was like a restaurant sort of thing.
Hmm.
They're not like that over here anymore, really. But somehow you got this little plastic sort of puppet of each of one of them, and then people used to put them on their toe balls, sort of to cover the toe balls up, and so you'd see them everywhere. That got such saturation back then, and but I remember that being terribly sad. So I don't think I have the emotional strength to watch that these days. I think it would tear us apart. So,
I remember those puppets.
But
oh, cool. I didn't. So that they were everywhere. That's cool, then.
it's weird that as millennials, a lot of our kid movies always involved parents dying.
Oh, they really did. Like, we just grew up watching stuff like whether parent or some sort, like any kids thing had at the base of it some huge trauma. Like even was Fern, I think it was called Fern Gully. Was that something that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
in America? But that same thing, like that was deforestation and people's houses going down. Like that's another one that sits with it. I was like, oh geez, that was heavy to watch as a kid. Or Bridge to it was a book, I think. But then they made it into a movie. But Bridge to Terabithia, I remember reading that at school thinking,
Hmm.
geez, like, why are you doing this to us? We're kids. Let us have a good time.
I feel like they did it on purpose. They were trying to like
Probably
brainwash us into being tougher or
potentially. They're just
something.
like, look, bad stuff's gonna happen. Get used to it.
Eventually, you're going to have one or no parents, so be prepared now.
I suppose. They were trying to
Um,
prepare
That's
us for the
true.
future.
the it was funny because I had this conversation not long ago with somebody else, and they're like, "Well, what about the Little Mermaid? Nobody's parents died there." I'm like, "Where's Ariel's mom? She's n It's just the
Not even
dad."
there.
But you didn't witness her die.
No, but she's still not there.
Well, that's
Something
same with
happened.
Beauty and the Beast. It's the same. The mum's just not there yet, so she's obviously passed on or something at some point.
It's true.
I thought they mentioned that the mom had passed away in Beauty and the
They might
Beast.
have. I don't remember.
Oh
And
gosh.
Cinderella didn't, she did.
Oh, true, because it's like the stepmom and all, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
interesting. There's a lot of weird differences in some of the Disney movies. Like, oh, this one has a stepmom. This one has no mom. This one, the mom dies right away in the movie. Or you got
Are
like
Prince
Lion
too nice at
King.
her mums?
I guess. I don't know. Although Mufasa dies
True,
in Lion
they tried
King,
to even
so
it out at that
even it
point.
out with
They're
a
like, all
dad
right, hold
dying.
on. Yeah, exactly. We got to get this ratio back.
Well, enough about death. Uh, is there anything is there anything you'd like to add at the end of the interview? At the end of this conversation? For anyone else listening still?
Yeah, I guess yeah, listen to listen to our latest cover Brick. We got a new song sorry coming out yeah in about a month and a half, so keep your eyes out for that. And if you haven't already, listen to our last record Only Change is Permanent. And yeah.
Yeah, hopefully if you're in Australia, maybe you guys will have some shows in Australia for people to go to. But
Therefore, we are. I
hopefully,
don't know when this. Oh, sorry, I don't know when this gets released, but we're playing a festival this weekend actually with Wind Waker called Dark Side Festival, which is cool. It's for a good charity. I think it's called the Sony Foundation. So yeah, go to that too if you're in Wollongong. Wollongong is a lovely city too. It's like a sort of about an hour and a half down from Sydney, and it's a coastal city.
yeah. Well, and hopefully you make it to the States in the next couple years at least.
It's hopefully over. Like I said, the first chance we get to come back, we're coming back. We absolutely love it over there.
And then you can try more French fries.
Fantastic.
All sorts of French fries. Chris is like laughing at me. He hates my goodbyes. He's always like, "You take the longest Midwest
Yeah.
goodbyes ever."
So when we were done with it was a virtue, right?
Probably.
We were done with a virtue and we stayed on after we cut recording and we're just sitting and talking. And it must have been like, I don't know, 15 minutes after the fact. And Jess was talking, and we're like, oh, she does a Midwestern goodbye. I do Irish goodbyes. And we're like, what's that? I was like, or just like, bye and peace. And I hit leave. Uh, yeah.
But yes, thank you so much for coming on. Glad we
So
could
thank you.
work this out and get everything
Yeah,
squared away with the
thank you. No,
daylight
thanks for having
savings.
us. Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for having us. And I apologize. Like I said, we bad at the math here. We did not do
It's
that
all
well.
good.
So
It's all good. Things happen, life happens, and you know what? We made it work. That's all that matters.
true, true. Thank you very much.